Hi. It's been a minute. We have moved. As you can see, you're currently very precariously balanced on a box right now. So I'm sorry if there's any wobble. But yeah, we have moved. We are in London now, which is very scary. But yeah, we're in London now. It has been very tough emotionally, mentally, especially having like minor agoraphobia. It's been very hard to leave my safe place, but you know, we're getting there. We're slowly getting more comfortable and getting more used to it. We have our boy here. We've obviously had to leave Hades behind, which I'm gutted about, but obviously I knew the day would come. He's not mine. So we've had to leave him behind with Zeph, but we have got our chunky boy here. Come here. Come say hello. Oh. I'm so glad that he's with me. I think it really helps. He's just had his breakfast, look. You just had his breakfast. Yummy. You smell like meat. Yeah, so it's been really lovely having him here. And we got the hamster here. I was honestly very worried about transporting the hamster. Everything online was like, do not move your hamster unless you absolutely need to. And it was just like, you know, hamsters die for the most crazy reasons. You know, that's kind of... Oh my god, there's a squirrel. Oh my god. Oh my god. There's a fence like right outside our window. I can't see it now, but it was literally right there. Wow. Wow. Yeah, we have a garden. Yeah, obviously it's freezing right now in England, especially in London. I was quite shocked. Obviously we moved from down in the south, near the sea, and the sea air is like infamously cold. You know, like being near the sea, especially in England, is always cold because the sea air. And where I was in the bottom in the south of England, we would always get the tail ends of the storms in America. Like there would be these massive hurricanes in America or tornadoes or whatever, and then it would spin and spin and spin, and then the tail of the storm would come and whip us in the face. And it would only be like a week of like a really rough storm, but it would be a rough storm, do you know what I mean? But yeah, it's colder up here and I don't understand why. It is freezing here, so yeah, we haven't managed to get any gas, but I'm hoping that we can as soon as I get paid. Hence why like my lips are so dry, because it's so cold. We've been using like space heaters and stuff. But yeah, we have moved. We're up in London. I will give you a full room tour once the place is more set up, because there are boxes and bags and stuff everywhere, so we're still like sorting through everything and putting it all in its place. So I will give you like a full tour of the place then eventually. Yeah, it is a lot smaller than my place back with Zeph, but you know, it's the price you pay for being in London. But it is really nice, and our neighbours are really, really nice. So yeah. Who is calling me? I have someone calling me from Bournemouth. Okay. If it's important, they'll leave a message. But yeah, this today is going to be a bit of a story time. Because yeah, we had a bit of a tough few days, and I thought that it might help to talk about it. I don't know. You guys have always helped me with seeing sense if I'm being a brat, if I'm being spoiled, if I'm being an idiot, you know, like, you guys are my am I the asshole? So I feel like that's gonna be another one of these today. So tell me, am I the asshole for what happened here? Yeah, so let's start. On, what day was it? Tuesday last week, we got trains to Bristol. I had to get 2-hour train to Bristol, and Casey had to also. We like met in the middle from Bristol. We picked up the van that we were going to be hiring. It went really well. Picked up the van, it was fine. Obviously I've never driven a van before, so it was a learning experience, you know, trying to figure out the size and get used to that. But that went okay. It obviously was given to us with a full tank. It was a electric vehicle, which I've never had driven an electric vehicle before. I thought it was interesting, you know. We're gonna have to charge it up and things instead of getting petrol, but you know, we had budgeted for the van. We were gonna do it all in one day, well, in 24 hours, so pick it up on at 5:30 in the evening on Tuesday, drop it off 5:30 in the evening the Wednesday. This was our plan. We had budgeted for enough fuel, petrol, because obviously I drive petrol cars, so I'd budgeted enough fuel for the one day, even a little bit excess, you know. I had budgeted enough for fuel and enough for like food and travel and things like that, you know. We budgeted for the trains, we budgeted it really well, and I was going to be putting my whole payday into it. My whole payday was going to be going into the smooth, making sure that we get it done and get it, because it's been a month and we still haven't moved up here, you know. So like, we needed to get it done. So we get the van back, we're driving back, it's got a full tank. A full tank of petrol would definitely do the journey from Bristol back to where I'm from, you know. That journey is a 2-hour journey, and a full tank of petrol will easily do a 2-hour journey. That's nothing, you know. I'd be surprised if a car couldn't do a 2-hour journey, you know. Like, obviously it would take a dent out of the fuel, but, you know, especially a van of that size, I would expect it to have a larger fuel tank so that, you know, it can go further distances. So we expected a full tank to at least get us to Bristol and maybe back the same distance before we'd even have to think about refueling, you know. So we get 3/4 of the way back to Bristol and it's yelling at us that it's got no power. Like, we haven't even gotten the 2-hour journey and it's fully used up the whole charge, and there's nothing in the back, you know, absolutely nothing. So we stop. It's about 8 o'clock at night now, so it's already late, and we have to stop. We find a fuel, like an electric charger. We plug it in. We use the one that he told us to. We sit there for an hour. It's now 9 o'clock at night. I'm an hour away from Plymouth. Well, like half an hour, 40 minutes away. We're really not that far. I should have easily made it back. And we have to charge it. Mara! Bro! Smelly shit incoming. So yeah, we charge for over an hour, okay? He told us that an hour would get it to 80%. The guy at the charge place, well, at the van place, he told us that if we charged it to for an hour, it would get to 80%, okay? So we did. We let it charge for an hour. We're waiting at just some random, like, service station at the side of the road, and Yeah, we wait for an hour. It charges 5%. 5. We were on 15% or something like that. We got to 20. We couldn't afford to spend any more time sat wasting charging. Fueling up takes 5 minutes, you know? So we charged 5% and it charged us £40. £40! Which was like a third of my fuel budget for 5%, which couldn't even get us back to Plymouth. So I was obviously in shock. That was him shaking then. Because that was a third of my fuel budget. If I'd put £40 worth of petrol in, that would be almost a full tank. You know, £40. I used to do £10 worth of petrol, and it would get me up like a quarter when I had like a cheap, shitty car. You know, like putting £40 worth of petrol in would get me a lot. That would get me back to Plymouth and back to where we were at least. You know, whereas 5% of battery for £40. Okay, now I'm shocked. Now I'm scared because it's like we haven't budgeted for this. We have not budgeted for this. So we get back to Plymouth. It's now 10 o'clock at night. We are exhausted. We have been traveling all day. We left at midday to get the train. We've had to drive. We get back to Plymouth. We can't pack up the van. My mum says, "Here, I will pay for an extra day. Call them up and ask if you can hire it for 2 days, and I will pay for it." So we're like, oh my god, thank you. That stops us rushing. We don't have to then pack it up, get to London, unpack it, and drop the van off all within like a few hours. Do you know what I mean? Like, thank you. That really, really helps. You know, we really appreciate it. So then we do that. We get the extra day. We spend the whole of the next day, well, most of the next day, packing up the van, and we leave at around 3, 4-ish in the afternoon, which, if we're doing a straight drive to London on a petrol car, it's a 4-hour drive. Do you know what I mean? It's a 4-hour drive, roughly. 3 hours, 4 hours, do you know what I mean? Stopping for fuel adds another half an hour. You know, it takes 10 minutes to fuel up your car, even if you fuel it up to full. So we leave, we set off, it's 4 o'clock, we're like, okay, this is fine. We've got until 5:30 tomorrow. We can make it there. We'll get there at 8 o'clock. It'll be fine. But no, we've got 15% fuel, or maybe even less. So we get 10 minutes out of Plymouth and we need to charge up again. So we do the same thing. We use the same one that he told us to use, which, it's like, we don't want to break it. We've never used an electric car before. We don't want to just choose whichever plug we want. We want to choose the one that he said, which was clearly the non-super fast charging one. That's why it was going so slow. So we sit, we charge for an hour. Again, it charges us £40. Again, we get 10%, maybe, again. You know, at most, we get like 5 watts. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like nothing. It's like 10% for an hour. So it's now 5 o'clock, 5 o'clock. We set off again. We have to stop again because we haven't got enough charge. So now this is, and obviously I've got Mara in the van with me this time. I've got the hamster in the car with me. We have to stop again for an hour, charging it again, and it has charged me another £45 for minuscule amount of fuel. And also, every time you'd go, like I said, I used to be able to just put like £10 on, but every time you go to an electric charger, they have to charge you for a like start fee. Some of these start fees were like 85 quid. So it's like, a lot of them we'd get there and we couldn't even use it because I didn't have 85 quid in my bank. I had like 60 quid, and I'm trying to charge it like 20 quid it's worth, but I can't because it charges me like 60 quid as a base level. So I've got nothing. Then it finally charges me the final amount, which is like 40, 50 quid. Then I've got like £10. You know, like, you can't control how much money it takes from you. And as somebody who's so broke and chose a van company that is cheaper than everything else so that we could do this cheaply, spending 3 times the amount on fuel has literally broke us. Like, we are now owing out hundreds to people because how they never informed us of how much more expensive electric is. And they say, like, electric is supposed to be cheaper. You Google it and it says it's cheaper. And I literally was sat there doing the maths and I'm like, yeah, sure, the watts are cheaper, but the watts don't get you nearly as far. Like, 100% didn't even do a 2-hour drive. A full tank of petrol would do a 2-hour drive easily in one go. I did that. I literally did that. Not even a few weeks ago, I did a 2-hour drive in one go. Because, like, you can on a petrol. We couldn't even drive over an hour. We had to stop every hour, which made this 4-hour drive impossible. It got to 10 o'clock at night. We were 45 minutes out of Plymouth. 45 minutes, and we had been going for 4 hours because of how much we had to stop and charge and stop and charge. And I'd spent over 100 quid and we hadn't gotten anywhere already. Like, this was a nightmare. It was the middle of the night. I was exhausted from moving all the stuff into the van. I was like, this is dangerous. I cannot drive at this time of night. We're gonna have to turn around, go back, sleep, and try again tomorrow. So I call my mum up in a panic. I'm like, I physically don't think I am safe enough to drive. It's 10 o'clock at night. We are 45 minutes out of Plymouth. Like, there is no point trying to go now. We still have 3 and a bit hours to drive, and we're stopping every hour. We will get there at 4 a.m, you know? So we turn around, which is wasting even more of the power, but it's the smarter decision because I know that I'm not safe enough to drive throughout the night. So we get an extra day. We get another extra day. And, like, I am so grateful that my mum was able to help out with all of this. You know, there is a caveat to all of it, but I am just at a base level so grateful that she was willing to help out with this because this was a fucking nightmare. So yeah, we turn around. I say to my mum that we didn't budget for this much fuel. It's costing so much more. Could I borrow some money to cover the fuel? Because we're stopping every hour to refuel it. It's not like a car where you can stop and refuel it and then go for 6 hours. Like, we have to stop. Like, some of the charges, like, we did an almost full charge. It cost me 90 quid. One of the charges, 90 quid to get an almost full charge, which again, we could then only drive for like an hour and 45 minutes. We never made it 2 hours in one stretch without having to recharge. 45 at the time, 50, 60, 90, 85. Each time it cost us so much fucking money. So this 4-hour drive, which I should have been able to refuel at the very start, costing no more than 100 quid to fill up a whole tank, I should then be able to just fucking go 4 hours straight drive, no stopping, get Mara there, get the hamster there, reduce the amount of time that we're all in a van. But no, the actual drive the next day, so now we're on Thursday, it took almost 10 hours to do a 4-hour drive because of how often we had to stop. We left at about 10 a.m. in the morning and we still got there at like 9 o'clock at night. It was a nightmare. It was a nightmare, which meant again that we couldn't unpack anything that night. We only unpacked the mattress, the hamster, the cat, the quilt. That was it, you know? So then the next day we had to rush to unpack everything again, and I knew that if it took 8 to 12 hours or whatever the fuck it took for us to do a 4-hour drive from Plymouth to London, then it's going to take just as much fucking time for us to get back to Bristol, which is a 3-hour drive. So we're going to have to stop 50 fucking times again. So we set off for Bristol. I smash up my wing mirror. Like, I know that that is my fault, and I'm so grateful that it wasn't an actual accident. Nobody was hurt. I didn't hit anybody. It wasn't a collision. Just, I was not used to the wideness of the van. So I smashed the wing mirror. So we had to then pull over at the side of the road and call about that, report that, and obviously they're saying no, it's okay, you know, as long as you're alright. But that's obviously set me off not on a good foot. I am hyperventilating, freaking out. I am like not doing okay, you know, just stuck behind this wheel like, I don't want to be here, I don't want to do this anymore, I'm sick of driving, I'm sick of this van, I'm sick of all this, I'm sick of the stress, like freaking out. And then, yeah, like, we again drive about an hour out of London, stop again, charge again, stop again, charge again, drive a little bit longer. Again, we are still not even an hour away from house, and it is again 7-8 o'clock at night. Well, it's coming up to it. We then realise that we're 2 hours away from Bristol. We're due to give it back in 45 minutes. Or it's like 4 o'clock then, yeah. Like, we realise we're not going to make it back in time. What is going to happen? Is there a way we can drop it off? Is there someone who can wait behind? Blah, 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 blah. They say you're going to be charged either way. You're going to be charged for an extra day if it turns up late. So I call up my mum. I say, I don't know what to do. I'm freaking out. I'm literally on the middle of the motorway. We've just had an accident. We're not even an hour away from home. I don't know what to do. They're going to charge us if we're late. We're going to be late. What do I do? Do I turn around and go back? Do I keep going? And we will end up late, and then we will end up having to come back anyway, or find like a hotel in Bristol, or like, what do we do? What do we do? So my mum is screaming at me. She is like screaming at me. She's like, stop crying! Stop crying now! You need to stop crying, Rebecca, or I am hanging up on you right now. And it's like, I'm freaking out. I want this done. I want this over with. I don't want the van for an extra day. I don't want to be driving this fucking machine anymore. I don't want the pressure of knowing that I could break it anymore, or knowing that, like, we're gonna have to stop and charge it 50 times again. I didn't want to turn around. You know, and she's screaming at me, you better not turn around. You are not costing me another day. I'm like, I want to talk about this. I don't want to cost you another day either. I don't want to cost you anything, you know? Like, we set off at 11 a.m. That's 6 hours to do a 3-hour drive. It is not our fault that we've had to charge it so fucking much. Like, because the van company didn't disclose that we would have to charge it every hour and a half at most, it added 4.5 hours onto our journey, meaning that we brought it back late so many times, or tried to bring it back late so many times, because they never informed us how long it will take. If it took that long and that much money, we'd already spent over £200-300 on fuel for a journey that should have not been nearly that much, you know, because of how much we've had to refuel it at this point. So then we have to go back. We turn around, we do the hour drive back, we stop again and fuel up again, trying to get some fuel in it again, and it's another fucking 40 quid, another 60 quid that we have to do again. We are now living off of pennies. We haven't eaten for days because of how we've been in this van constantly, and we can't afford roadside food, we can't afford takeout. All of our money has gone on fuel for this fucking van. We haven't eaten. We got no electric, we got no gas, we got no food, we got no drink, we got no cat food, we got no nothing, because of this fucking van seeping every bit of money from me, my mum, Zeph, everything. Casey'd already put 300 into it. I put my whole 400 payment into it. Zeph had lent me like 100 quid. My mum was now paying for extra days and extra fuel. We'd spent like 300-400 quid on fuel alone for a journey that was supposed to be 150, 200 at max? Like, what the fuck? This was supposed to be the cheaper option. This is the British equivalent of U-Haul. This was supposed to be cheap. This was supposed to be me and Casey being broke-ass bitches doing it ourselves. I didn't want to ask my mum for help. That's why we went for the cheap option. I wanted to do it myself. I wanted to rely on myself, and I knew I was going to get 400 quid, and I could pay for the van, I could pay for the extra day, pay for the deposit, pay for all the fuel. With the 300 that Casey put in, we would have enough. But no, 300-400 quid later on fuel. My whole payday on fuel alone. So obviously then we start off Friday. It has taken a whole week for this fucking van. We start off on Friday. I go a different route from the route I went yesterday because I'm scared I'm going to smash my wing mirror. I'm freaking out. At this point, I am like traumatized to be behind the wheel. I'm having flashbacks of the panic, flashbacks of changing lanes in the motorways and making sure that I can fit, and running low on fuel and having to recharge. Like, I'm having flashbacks and panic attacks the second I'm sat behind this wheel. But I've got to do it again. I've got to get behind the wheel again, and I've got to go again. I hit my wing mirror again. Thankfully this time it was just a tap, and the shock of it was worse. But of course that sent me in a whole other spiral. I'm now freaking out, screaming in the street. I am having a full-on meltdown because I can't do this anymore. Like, don't put me behind this wheel anymore. I don't want to be in control of this very dangerous vehicle any fucking more. But I have to. I'm forced to. We leave at 9 a.m. this time. We are rushing. We charge it for an hour for another 60 quid. We go, we keep going, we charge it again for another 40 quid. We charge it again for another 40 quid. We have to charge it like 3-4 times again on this final journey. We finally get there. We're a little bit early. We obviously drop off the van. They check the damages. They then say, all right, goodbye. Off you fuck. We go, all right, goodbye. They call me up and they say, hello, we're keeping the deposit because of the wing mirror. I'm like, it's fine. They say, hello, we're taking another 25 because of the admin fees. It's fine, I understand. I hit someone, wouldn't hit someone, but I hit something. That's fine. Yeah, and we're also going to take out of the amount of money that is missing in the fuel, because you were supposed to return it to us full. Are you fucking kidding me? I couldn't even get it to full when I had it. The whole time. When I paid 80 quid, it never got to full. When I paid 60 quid, it never got to full. We charged it at like 50%, up to like 70%, and that was still like 60 quid, and that still never got it to full. We never saw full. What do you want me to do? You want me to fully break myself? Like, have nothing left? For fuel. You want more money for fuel. I paid fucking 400-500 quid for fuel. For your shitty machine. What do you mean? The fact that, yeah, we paid like 300-500 quid, I can't even tell at this point. It was hundreds on fuel. That should have been 200 at most. I'm so in shock that it happened. Like, I've had to sit here for the last few days and just this weekend and just recover. The last couple days, I would wake up panicking, sweating, in shock, having flashbacks that I have to drive again, I have to go behind the wheel again. I have to get in that fucking van again. We don't have any money, we can't afford it. I'd wake up in a panic in case he'd be like, no, the van's gone, it's fine, it's gone, it's done. Like, the fact that I've been, like, actually kind of traumatized by this whole experience, by the crash, the fueling, the stopping constantly, the constant panic of low battery. Like, the fact that we even just during driving, like when you're driving at night, especially, the windows start to fog up because you're warmer than the outside air is, which you need power for to put the fucking fans on. So when it then screams at me, low power, I have to turn that off, turn every kind of heating off in the van to reserve power, which means I can't see. So then I'm like, quick, turn it on, wipe your windows, I can't see. We're driving in the middle of the night. I'm in a massive van and I'm on a 4-lane motorway. Oh my god, and I completely forgot the other part. On the night where we had to drop it back, but then we realised we were going to be late, so we had to get another day. My mum, once she's screaming at me saying, stop crying, you need to stop this, Rebecca, stop it, stop crying. You know, in case he's trying to go, they can't help it, please, they can't help it. And I'm having to go, to try and force myself from stop having a panic attack and stop crying, even though I'm in the middle of the motorway driving this fucking thing. Like, we're literally in the middle of the motorway driving when I'm calling her doing this. She's like, pull over the second you can, pull over right now, and then call me back. So my panicked ass, literally having a panic attack and a meltdown, pulls over in a lay-by. Then I realise I should not have done this. There are cars going 50, 60, 70 miles an hour, zooming past us on the side. We've just pulled over for no reason. We're not broken down or anything. So we get out, we're like, oh fuck, we're not supposed to be in the van here. We get out, we stand there. I am now really panicking because I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Casey says, right, we need to pull out. I'm like, I'm scared. I am scared. I can't do this. I'm scared. We're gonna get hit. I'm scared. I can't do this. I can't see. I can't do, it's the middle of the night, I can't see, I can only see lights coming at me in my wing mirror, and then suddenly they're here. Like, I can't tell which lane the lights are in, I don't know anything. Like, I was so afraid, you know, and obviously, for good reason, you're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to just pull out onto a motorway like that. There's a reason slip roads have like a run-up. Like, so we had to call. I'm like, I pulled over, I'm freaking out, I need to get back on the road, I don't know what to do, I am scared. So they say, hold on, it's okay, we will clear the lane for you. So we watch all of these, like, road signs change, and they say, slow vehicle joining, move over. And all of the cars suddenly start switching lanes, and suddenly this lane is empty now. But the fear that came over me, because that's like, okay, you're now gonna have to jump out of a plane without a parachute. You know, that's like, okay, so I'm gonna die. Like, I knew if I even attempted to leave that road, we would have gotten hit and we would have died. Like, every single part of this whole thing has been so stressful. My mum's screaming at me. Like, all of it, you know, like, I had to just say to her, like, I'm back on the road, I can't pull over. Like, there was nowhere safe for me to pull over. I just did because you told me to, and it put my life at risk. So now I can't. I'm just fucking going home. Like, the residual effects that it's had on me, the way it's left me having panic attacks and flashbacks, and the way I wake up in such a sweat, like, oh my god, I have to do it again, you know, has just fucked me. Like, and it's crazy that if this was a petrol vehicle, none of this might have happened. If I was less stressed and panicking about the batteries and panicking about using so much electric, maybe I would have been a bit more aware and I would never have hit the wing mirror. Maybe I would have, but either way I would have been able to do the journey in a lot shorter of a time, and had enough sleep, had enough money to eat. I was running on no food. We were driving with no food. There were parts where I thought I was going to pass out behind the wheel. I thought I was going to faint because of how we had no money, because all of it went into the power for this van. Like, this was supposed to be the cheap option. But, I've been rambling for a long time, and we are finally here. and thank fuck I do not have to drive that fucking van anymore. But yeah, thank you for listening to my bullshit story. If you made it all the way to the end, tell me about if you've had a nightmare experience from hell. Tell me about your van experiences and or your experiences with electric cars, I guess, because I don't think I'm ever going to buy one after this. I don't think I'm ever going to do that. No. Thank you. Oh my god, the squirrel's back. Oh my god, oh my god. Beautiful. Amazing. Okay. Sorry for rambling. I will see you later. Bye.